Once, Lord Buddha was teaching his disciples. At that time, one disciple asked Buddha 3 questions. "O Lord, I have 3 questions in my mind. May I ask them?" To this, Buddha replied, "Whatever doubts you have in your mind, ask." The disciple then asked, "My first question is, who eats by whose fortune? The second question is, who is the strongest in the world? And the third question is, what happens to those who go back on their word?" Gautama Buddha, after hearing these questions, said, "Dear one, your questions are very important. Every person should know the answers to these 3 questions. I will tell you a story. Listen carefully. In the end, you will find the answers to all 3 of your questions." In a forest, there was a large banyan tree. A vulture lived on that tree. Not far from that tree, under another tree, there was a burrow. In that burrow lived a snake. One day, the vulture was watching for the snake to come out. As soon as the snake emerged, the vulture tried to catch it and attacked. However, the snake had not completely come out of the burrow, so it quickly retreated back into its burrow. After some time, the snake cautiously peeked out again to see if the vulture had flown away or was still there. The vulture, still sitting there, attacked the snake once more. For the second time, the snake quickly retreated back into its burrow. Each time the snake tried to come out for food, the vulture would attack and try to catch it. The vulture thought to itself, "Whenever you come out, I will make you my meal." However, the snake, fearing the vulture, remained hidden inside its burrow. As time passed, the snake thought, if only King Vikrama came by, it would be a blessing. He is known for relieving others of their troubles. If anyone can save me from this vulture's torment, it would be King Vikrama. The snake, thinking about King Vikrama, stayed hidden in its burrow. Whenever someone passed by that path, the snake would say, "If any of you happen to see King Vikrama, please convey my message to him. I would be forever indebted to you." One day, King Vikrama himself was traveling along the forest path. By coincidence, he was passing by the same tree. The snake, sensing that someone was near its burrow, quickly called out from inside, "If anyone meets King Vikrama, please tell him about my plight. I would be forever indebted to you." Hearing this, King Vikrama asked, "What do you need from King Vikrama?" The snake replied, "King Vikrama is known for relieving people of their troubles. I have been suffering in this burrow for many days. Whenever I try to come out, the vulture that lives on the banyan tree attacks me. Because of this, I am unable to leave the burrow and have been fasting for many days. Perhaps King Vikrama can suggest a solution for me." Hearing the snake's plea, King Vikrama said, "O snake, I am King Vikrama. Tell me how I can help you and relieve your suffering." The snake replied, "Your Majesty, do whatever you think is best, but please free me from this vulture. Otherwise, it will kill me." King Vikrama then said, "If you wish, I can take you far away from here." The snake responded, "Your Majesty, if you take me away, the vulture will see and follow us. Even then, it will try to catch me whenever it gets the chance. Oh, King, please allow me to stay inside you for some time. Give me a place in your stomach. That way, the vulture won't know where I am. Once we are far from this forest, I will come out of your stomach and continue on my way." King Vikrama agreed and said, "All right, enter my stomach." As soon as King Vikrama opened his mouth, the snake entered his stomach through his mouth. As King Vikrama traveled, he went a great distance. Then, he said to the snake, "O snake, you can come out of my stomach now. We have reached another part of the forest. There is no one here, and no one will trouble you." But the snake replied, "Your Majesty, I will not come out of your stomach anymore." Surprised, King Vikrama reminded the snake, "You promised to come out when we reached a safe place. What happened now?" The snake responded, "The comfort I have in your stomach cannot be found outside in that burrow. I will not leave your stomach." King Vikrama began to think, "This is an evil snake. I must find a way to deal with it." Due to the snake's deadly poison, King Vikrama's body started to develop boils, and he became afflicted with a severe skin disease. Seeing his condition, King Vikrama thought, "It is not right for me to return to the capital in this state. I must stay here and find a way to free myself from this snake." With this in mind, the king built a small hut under a tree and began living there. His body was covered with sores, and a foul smell emanated from him, caused by the snake's venom. Meanwhile, the snake had made itself comfortable inside King Vikrama's stomach, treating it like its home. The once mighty King Vikrama lay there, weakened and suffering from the snake's poison. At the same time, the kingdom of Shrivasti was ruled by King Tamradvaja. He was a very arrogant and proud king. He had 3 daughters. One day, King Tamradvaja asked his children, "My dear ones, by whose fortune are you eating?" Among them, 2 of the daughters, out of fear of their father, answered, "We eat by your fortune, father." But the youngest daughter, Chitralaka, replied, "I do not eat by anyone's fortune. I eat by my own fortune." Chitralaka's words angered the king. He immediately summoned a Brahmin and instructed him to find suitable royal matches for his 2 elder daughters. For the youngest daughter, Chitralaka, the king commanded, "Find someone who is afflicted with a disease or has a bad reputation. I will marry her off to him." As instructed by the king, the Brahmin set out to find suitable grooms for the 2 elder princesses. However, while searching for a match for the youngest princess, Chitralaka, the Brahmin unexpectedly entered the forest where King Vikrama was residing. Finding King Vikrama lying in a hut, afflicted with disease and misfortune, the Brahmin judged him to be a suitable match for Chitralaka and reported back to King Tamradvaja. King Tamradvaja immediately went to the forest and married Chitralaka to King Vikrama. Despite being a great warrior, King Vikrama had fallen into misfortune and was suffering from a skin disease in the forest. However, Chitralaka, being a devoted wife, took care of King Vikrama with great dedication. The other 2 princesses lived happily in prestigious royal families, but Chitralaka alone lived in hardship. It is said that those who uphold their principles and adhere to righteousness throughout their lives will not be abandoned by the divine. They will always be blessed with happiness. Chitralaka continued to serve King Vikrama devotedly for many years, despite their difficult circumstances. Near the hut where King Vikrama was staying, there was a large banyan tree. Under this tree, there was another burrow where a different snake lived. One night, while King Vikrama was asleep, Chitralaka, who was still awake, overheard a conversation between this second snake and the one inside King Vikrama's stomach. The second snake said, "O wretched one, you have become a traitor to your word. You promised to leave King Vikrama's stomach once you were far from your old place. Yet you have stayed inside, causing him great suffering with your poison. Don't you feel any shame for the wrongs you have done? King Vikrama has been relieving the suffering of many. If anyone hears of this, I will tell them how to deal with you. If someone brings Ganga water and gives it to the king to drink, your poison will be neutralized. The holy water will cut your body into 100 pieces. Once you are out of his body, the king will recover. I have never seen anyone like you, sitting on such a vast treasure and waiting all these years. If you had used this wealth for the welfare of mankind, it would have brought much good. I know how to kill you. If someone heats a jar of oil and pours it into your burrow, you will die. After that, those who cut open your burrow will find a great treasure." Chitralaka, who had overheard this conversation, realized that the snake inside King Vikrama's stomach was causing his disease. She thought of this as a way to help her husband. She approached a nearby sage and requested, "Great sage, I need a vessel of Ganga water. Please give it to me." The sage asked her, "My daughter, who are you, and why do you need Ganga water?" Chitralaka replied, "Great sage, I am Chitralaka, the youngest daughter of King Tamradvaja. I need the Ganga water as a medicinal remedy for my husband." The sage gave her a vessel of Ganga water. Chitralaka took it and returned to King Vikrama, saying, "Accept this Ganga water as a remedy." It will remove your illness and you will recover quickly. Following her instructions, King Vikrama drank the Ganga water. As soon as he drank it, the poison inside his stomach was neutralized, and the snake was expelled from his body. Gradually, King Vikrama's illness began to heal, and within a few days, he returned to his former self. One day, Chitralekha said to King Vikrama, "As a woman, I cannot go alone into the city. You need to go and bring a jar of oil." King Vikrama asked, "What will you do with the oil?" Chitralekha replied, "First, get the jar of oil, and I will tell you what to do next." Following her instructions, King Vikrama went to the city, obtained a jar of oil, and brought it back. Chitralekha then heated the oil over a fire until it was very hot. She poured the hot oil into the snake's burrow. The snake inside the burrow was killed by the hot oil. Chitralekha said, "Now you should leave this place." Following her advice, King Vikrama found immense treasure. Chitralekha continued, "My lord, you are King Vikrama of Ujjayini. But my father has insulted me. One day, he asked us 3 children a question. 'By whose fortune do you eat?' My sisters said they eat by his fortune, but I replied that I eat by my own fortune. In his anger, he decreed that I be married off to a leper. But today, I am experiencing the fruits of my own fortune. Therefore, I want to build a palace here that is more beautiful than my father's palace." King Vikrama said, "Chitralekha, why talk of building a palace here? Let us return to Ujjayini." But Chitralekha refused. With no other option, King Vikrama had the most splendid palace built at that location. Both of them lived happily in the palace. Indeed, time is the most powerful force in this world. Beyond time, no other force is greater. Those who are blessed with good times progress, while those with ill fortune fall. Meanwhile, King Tamradvaja was defeated by another king and was forced to flee with his family to the forest where Chitralekha lived. King Tamradvaja and his family were suffering from hunger and thirst, wearing tattered clothes. One day, while wandering in such a state, they approached the vicinity of King Vikrama's palace. From a distance, Chitralekha recognized her father. She immediately sent a servant to invite King Tamradvaja to the palace. King Tamradvaja wondered why Chitralekha was calling him to the palace. As he approached, he realized that the person who had invited him was his own daughter. Chitralekha said to her father, "I am Chitralekha, your youngest daughter. I had declared that I would eat by my own fortune. Now see, I am experiencing the results of my own fortune. You gave me to a leper, but my fortune has led me to marry an emperor. Behold, I am the wife of King Vikrama of Ujjayini." King Tamradvaja recognized his mistake and sought forgiveness. He realized that time is the most powerful force in the world. No one can live off another's fortune. Each person experiences the outcomes of their own fortune. It is said that each moment bears the mark of those who consume. One should not believe they can give away their fortune for others to consume. Only the divine can provide for all beings. Those who do not keep their promises face a fate akin to the serpent in King Vikrama's stomach, one of injustice and suffering. King Vikrama and Chitralekha thus welcomed King Tamradvaja. King Vikrama took him to Ujjayini and, by sending his army with Tamradvaja, restored his lost kingdom. Those who perform good deeds have favorable destinies. The divine ensures that they are cared for. While we may be immersed in our own lives, consider the Supreme Being who governs the universe and protects all beings. Is it not misguided to think that others might consume our fortune? Dear listeners, if you enjoyed this story, please give us a like and subscribe to our channel for more new stories. Many people do not subscribe after listening. Your encouragement inspires us to continue creating and sharing stories. We will make an effort to bring you various types of stories. Thank you.